Venezuela is the wealthiest country in the world in terms of its oil resources. It has 300 billion barrels of oil. It has the largest reserves of any country in the world. Its economy is in chaos, so that like a $42 billion operation now doesn't have the currency to actually run the elevators in the main offices of the oil company. But so that on the one hand, there's this huge contrast of an enormously wealthy country that is of policy refusing to allow its population access to foodstuffs. One, that are available if it would meet reasonable demands of the agencies who are willing to make the food available. Or it could provide it itself to a much higher level than it is now, even with the economic chaos. Those two facts, the fact that the government is in control of the country, this is not a South Sudan or a country that's in chaos. The government is in control, and the government could have access to resources. Those two facts last week led the UN Human Rights Commission to charge, they allege that the situation in Venezuela constitutes crimes against humanity on the basis of the way they are handling the crisis. If we look at the politics of humanitarian crises, and particularly look at the Venezuelan situation, the role that Caricom plays, in connection with the role Caricom is playing, or not playing, Caricom's, the components of the OAS from the Caribbean has a tradition, a strong democratic and human rights tradition. With odd exceptions, the English-speaking Caribbean in particular has a virtuous political history, in the sense that, with the odd exception of dictators like ourselves, Mr. Burnham, or Gary, or occasional one, by and large, we have a tradition that legitimizes CARICOM countries taking a strong position on human rights in international fora, because we live that tradition. But there is CARICOM governments, by and large, as I said earlier, they are focusing almost absolutely on the non-interference issue. Part of that is based on a sense of a debt of gratitude to Venezuela over the Petro-Caribe program, which is enormously advantageous to the Caribbean. It far outweighs any other program, the EU or any other aid. Nothing compares to the money that Petro-Caribe makes available. And one of the attractive things about this program is that 40% of the value of the oil that you get from Venezuela, you can pay for in goods. So Guyana, for example, pays 40% in rice. And the other 60% is a 25-year loan on 1% interest. So it's allowed Caribbean territories to do a lot. And in principle, it's a very good program. The issue is, who should the debt of gratitude be towards? Is Mr. Chavez, or Mr. Maduro, or the Venezuelan people? At the moment, CARICOM's interpretation is it's to the leaders of these countries. That's simplifying it a bit, but the fact that CARICOM feels unable to express its serious concern about practices in Venezuela, not just with the humanitarian side of it. The humanitarian side is accompanied by widespread repression, censorship, imprisonment, and beatings of people who are in manifestations, demonstrations and so on. I think I would leave for the discussion why it's important that Caricom confront the normative dimensions of these crises, not just in Venezuela, but in the Northern Caribbean as well. The politics of compassion, as I saw this phrase referring to humanitarianism recently, but the politics of compassion really needs to operate on principles. The classical humanitarian principles are neutrality, political neutrality, impartiality, meaning you don't pick and choose which refugees or which people you are going to assist. The principle of independence of the operation. The Venezuelan government, for example, wants to control whatever humanitarian relief comes into the country. That violates this humanitarian principle. They want to determine who receives it, the way we saw on those slides. That is also a violation.